Hello friends, welcome to the video tutorial of C programming, and from this video we are going to start with array. So let us see what is array. Basically array is collection of similar type of data. What is array? Collection of similar type of data. Now what is the meaning of this? See, assume that if you want to store a marks of 100 student, if you want to store the marks of 100 student, or if you want to store the percentage of 100 student, okay, what you need a float type of variable, and in totality you need total 100 float type of variables. Okay, means you have to declare that variable and there should be 100 unique name for your variable. Okay, as well as to scan their values or to manipulate it and to print that value is definitely going to be a difficult task. Okay, so you have 100 float type of values. So what another option you have, or what another option C has given? C has given array, because look at the definition. What is array? Collection of similar type of data. Type is nothing but a data type. Means if I want to store 100 variables of float type, what will I do? I'll use array. Okay, now C programming has given two types of array. So let us see the type first. So first array is one-dimensional array. First array is one-dimensional array. It is also called as 1D array or single dimensional array also. And the another one is multi-dimensional array. One-dimensional and multi-dimensional. So in multi-dimensional, if there are more than one dimension, then it is called as multi-dimensional. And basically we will focus on two-dimension array only. Okay, so it is, you can say it is one of the sub part of a multi-dimensional array. So first of all, in this video I'll cover basics related to one-dimensional array. So first of all we will see how to declare an array. Now let us consider the case that you want to store the 100 values of float type. So what you will do? In case of array, suppose you want to use array for that, you will specify data type first, then you will specify the array name. Say I want to store the percentage, so I will say %, and then in square bracket you will specify the size. Okay, it is a syntax of one-dimensional array declaration. So this is nothing but what? The size of your array, and it should be known while writing a program. Remember this thing. Means you cannot have a size such as x, y, z. This should be a constant value only. Now what happens? In memory, 100 memory locations get allocated for float type of variable. Okay, and whenever you declare an array, all the memory location of all the array element is consecutive. Now what is the meaning of consecutive? Consecutive means continuous block of memory get allocated. So let us have a look. So in your RAM, it acquires all the elements, acquires the memory side by side. Whereas if you declare 100 variables, you cannot guarantee that all the variables are side by side. It can be on any memory location, but in case of array, all the memory locations are what? Continuous, consecutive. Okay, now this particular part or a single value in our array is called as element of array. What is it called as? Element of array, or you can say array element. Basically array stores more than one value, so single value will be called as array element. Now to differentiate each and every element, every element has given an index. Okay, so the index of first element is 0, then 1, then 2, then 3, and so on. The index of last element is what? 99. Why? Because we declared our array of size 100 and my index of first element is what? 0. Now this first index is a special index and it is called as lower bound of array. It is called as lower bound of array, whereas the last index is also special index and it is called as upper bound of array. Now always remember, lower bound is always going to be 0 and upper bound will be always size minus 1. Whatever size of your array, your upper bound will be always less than 1 of that size. Okay, so I hope you got this. Now let us see how to initialize the array. Now what is initialization means? Initialization means assigning a value at the time of declaration. Okay, if values are already known, then suppose you want to initialize your array, definitely you can initialize it. So let us see that process. Suppose I have an array of type integer and let us name it as x. So this name can be any valid identifier. So it has the same rule that we apply to our variable name. Now here I declare my array of size 5. Okay, and suppose these 5 values are known to me. So what will I do? I'll assign it in this way. So it can be any value, remember this thing, of your choice. Okay, so how to assign it? You have to enclose that values in a curly bracket and each and every value will be separated by comma. Now this 2 will be at 0th position. This will be at first position. This will be at second position. This is at third position and this will be at fourth position. Okay, so 0 is lower bound and 4 is what? Upper bound. Now suppose, let us see one more sentence before this. Okay, suppose you are going to initialize your array. In that case you can skip the array size. Okay, only in that case you can skip the array size. So if you are going to initialize your array, it is not necessary to define this size. At that time it can be blank, because what happened here, it define your array or it will declare your array of the size that much element you have defined. Okay, so what will be the array size? How much element you have defined? We have defined or we have initialized 5 elements. So what will be my array size? My array size will also be 5. Okay, so remember this thing, while initialization only you can skip this. Now there is one more trick of initialization. Suppose you partially initialize your array. Consider the case that your array size is 100 and suppose you initialize only the first element of the array, that is 0th element of the array. Means here you initialize your partial array, right? You do not initialize your complete array, you just initialize single location. So in that case rest of the elements get initialized with 0. Okay, rest of the elements get initialized with 0. So remember this thing. So many times what happens, there is requirement that we want to initialize our array with 0 and suppose array size is very large. In that case definitely it is not feasible to write 0, 0, 0 100 times, right? So what will I do? I'll just initialize my first element with 0 and other elements also get initialized with 0. Otherwise if you do not initialize your array, in that case all the array elements will have a garbage value. Okay, now let us see how to access the array element. See, now you cannot just say x, you have to attach index with it. Okay, so either you have to say x of 2. So this is what? This is called as index, or it is also called as subscript. It is also called as subscript. While declaration, see, while declaration it is what? It is size. And whenever you are using this, whatever value you are using with this in the expression, it will be called as what? Index or subscript. Now if you directly try to access the array like this will be considered as wrong statement. Now your array name will always attach with its subscript or with index value, and this index value should be within a range of 0 to size minus 1. 0 to what? Size minus 1. Always remember this thing. Means here in this case my index should be within 0 to 4, because what is the size? Size is what? 5. And what did I specify here? 0 to, let us say 0 to size minus 1. So my index will range from 0 to 4, and this is totally a responsibility of a programmer to define this index value correctly. If you define this index value incorrect, there will be no compiler error. Computer cannot find that error. At runtime, that error will occur. Okay. Now suppose, consider that you want to assign a different value to element at second position. So what you will say? X of 2 is equal to 25. So what happened? The value at second position get overwrite by 25. Now suppose you want to read the value at particular position. Say a is equal to x of 4. Okay, and a is what? A is normal integer variable. Okay, so what happened? Here the value at x 4th position, what is it? 10. It gets stored in A. So remember this thing, that whenever you want to use an array, you should attach a subscript with that array. Otherwise you cannot access its value. Okay. Now let us see input output statement for one-dimensional array. Now we just saw the initialization statement, but initialization statement is useful when the values of arrays are already known. But suppose you want to scan the values from user, or suppose you want to input the value from the user. In that case, we have to use input output statement. So let us see how to scan the value of array. So here again I am considering I have an array of type integer, and let us name my array as x, and it has 5 elements in it. Okay, so it will look something like this. Okay, and this is 0 index, this is first index, this is second index, this is third index, and this is fourth index. So basically you have to input a value for each and every index, or for each and every element of your array. And here definitely we can use loop, because here we are starting with 0, we are going till our array size minus 1, and the interval between the array indices is 1. So definitely I can use loop for this. So let us say for I is equal to 0, I less than 5, and I plus plus. So here we'll just display the printf message, printf enter %d element. Okay, and here I'll say I plus 1. So what happened? What message get printed? If I value is 0, it will display enter 1 element. Okay, then when I value will be 1, so it will show you that 1 plus 1 is what? 2. Enter second element. Okay, so here what will I say? I'll say first, second. Okay, or instead of this, what will I say? th. Okay, so that particular ith element message will print something like that, enter ith element, and the value of I will be get printed. So here I purposely incremented, or here I purposely saying I plus 1, because normal user counts from 1. In case of array we are counting from what? We are counting from 0. Okay, so here I do not incremented the value of I just say I plus 1. So addition of I plus 1 gets stored in temporary variable. Now let us scan the value. So you have to say scanf. Since my array is of type integer, here I have to say %d, again ampersand sign, then x of I. So if value of I is 0, whatever value you will scan, it goes at x of 0th position. X of 0th position. Next time value of I will be what? 1. So whatever value you will scan, it goes at x of first position, say 9, and so on. Okay, so definitely just imagine that you have 100 different variables and you want to scan that value. You have to write this %d, %d, %d 100 times, and that variable names along with this ampersand operator 100 times. But if you are using array, you have to specify just single name, and using for loop you can scan all the values. Okay, so what is this? This is an input statement. Similarly, if I want to print the values of an array, so what I have to do? Again I have to use what? For loop. So for I is equal to 0, I less than 5, and I plus plus. So let us say printf %d. Here I am just printing new line and just say x of I. See, printf and scanf statement are again quite same like our normal variable, but here what just get added? Your subscript get attached with your array name. That is the difference. Otherwise everything is same, right? So this is what? This is our output statement. Okay. Now whenever you are going to use, or whenever you are going to write an array program, remember this thing. We are going to use this input output statement. Okay. Now let us see few things related to array. So basically what happened, many times we want to access an array. Okay, and many times what student does, they just specify the array name only. So always remember, again I am repeating continuously, that whenever you want to access a particular array, you have to attach subscript with this. Okay, and this subscript should be within the range of 0 to size -1 of array. Okay, and it is totally a responsibility of a programmer to define a valid subscript. Okay, again many times this kind of operation is tried. Suppose I have two arrays. Okay, then somebody may use this kind of statement, x is equal to y. Okay, means basically what you are doing, you are assigning the y array to x array, but again this is what? This is an invalid statement, because whenever now you are going to use array, or whenever you are going to process an array, you will process it element by element. Means suppose you have a requirement to transfer the content of y array to x array, what you have to say? X of I is equal to y of I, and again this will be inside your loop. So what it does, it will copy your array element by element. Okay, so I hope you understand this. Okay, from next video we are going to start example on one-dimensional array. Thank you.